Oh no, Toto. Suddenly I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Jeepers. We're actually in Earth 1979. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Hall of Justice, where every week Nikki De Guzman, Jiggy Cruz, and me, Rick Olivares, will be sharing our halls from the world of pop culture. Nikki, Jiggy, how's everything going in Planet 90 or Earth 1979?
All right, I'll go first. I'm very happy to be here. It's actually my first time podcasting or doing anything of the like, so go easy on me. um, the thing about collecting amid COVID, you have more time for your hobbies, but less money to spend for your hobbies. So, as with everything, sempre, you prioritize. You prioritize the titles you think are worth your time and your money. And another thing I miss is going to comic book stores talaga. It's still a different experience when you're there.
Jiggy?
Rick, I'm just glad we're not on Earth 2020 anymore. It's great to be here on Earth 1979, and I agree with Nikki. It's been tough this year with the COVID pandemic, but it can't stop us geeks and fans from collecting what we love. So excited to talk about my week's hauls.
Definitely, Jiggy. No, as Nikki said, this pandemic, you've had really time to reflect or even think about your collection, but there's not enough money to go around. But for me, the hardest part of the pandemic was not being able to go to the comic book stores like Filbars. I just love browsing. I love doing it the old school way. And as soon as they allowed going into the malls, I made sure to go and get my hauls. And that leads us to this very next segment of our show on Hall of Justice. Nikki, I think for your hauls of the week, you've got something that's a little more Batman related. Something like
Of course.
Death in the Family.
Yeah. If Jiggy's a Spidey guy, I'm like the Batman girl.
All right.
All right. Okay, so let's get into it. That being said, right now I am most excited about Batman: The Three Jokers. So the finale is coming around 27, I think, October 27. I'm honestly waiting for the trade paperback edition for our hard
Right.
copy collection. So technically, this one's a two haul. The last issue again is coming ngayong October kasi it was released no August and then September and then October. It's a single issue release every month. It's by Jeff Johns. It's pretty easy to get into because it's a 3-issue miniseries lang. So if you prefer shorter storylines, all the better. Jeff Johns, this dude is known for his contributions to DCEU, but this some of the comic books involving Flash and Superman, but mostly for Green Lantern because he really expanded that universe, the lore surrounding the Green Lantern Corps. So he's quite new to Batman, which is interesting. I think he did Batman Earth One though. He and then right now kasi sa New 52 we had Scott Snyder, sa Rebirth I think we had Tom King. Right now it's James Tynion doing the continuity na si Batman. Si Joker War I think is the most recent one. That one's very, very good too. But we're talking about the Jokers. Yeah. So on to the story. This story has been it's been a long time coming because it started noong 16 pa. There was this arc sa Justice League called the Dark Side War. So it's long story short, the Justice League, most of their members become gods. So Superman, god of strength, Flash, god of death, and then Batman becomes a god of knowledge because Batman. Anyway, during his time on the Mobius chair, he asks the chair, how many, I mean, what is the real identity of Joker? And the Mobius chair answers with a, with an answer, the which one, which, and then Hal Jordan asks the question. We all ask, what the hell does that mean? Turns out there are three Jokers. And so, flashback to today, um, that's like almost 5 years in the making. Ngayon lang nilabas yung story about that. So DC just let that sit, that fact sit na tatlo pala yung Joker. No wonder his personality kind of is different pagdating sa how they write Joker. So I guess this one's explaining that. Um, I think what makes it interesting then is it's not a large scale Batman story. There's no plans of world domination. It's mostly just focused on tormenting Batman. Classic Joker. Because there are comics na he wants to take over Gotham. This one, no. It's more focused on the impact he has on the Bat family. So you've got characters na well known sa Bat family. There's the Red Hood, there's Batgirl, and given their history with Joker, this makes for a more emotional, hindi lang interesting. It's very emotional yung writing. Because we all know Barbara and the Joker sa Killing Joke, and then si Jason Todd and si Joker sa Death in the Family naman.
So high
Speaking
stakes
of,
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking
yeah.
of Death in the Family, the interactive movie was just released kasi. And here's me telling you guys not to buy or rent the interactive movie na digital.
Oh
Okay?
no, why? What's wrong with it?
You have to wait for the Blu-ray disc or at least a physical copy sa Amazon. Kasi it's not at all interactive when it comes to your experience kapag digital siya. Not at
Okay.
all. So it's basically just a rehash of the clips sa Red Hood na animated movie. I follow kasi talaga the animated universe of DC. So I was very impressed sa Red Hood. It was way better than yung nasa comics kasi it was by the same writer, but he somehow made it nicer yung pagkakasulat, the storyline sa animated movie. So I was really disappointed kasi it was just, again, this Death in the Family na interactive movie was just a rehash ng clips doon. However, I've been hearing reviews na maganda naman daw if you do buy the disc itself kasi it gives you a peek into the future if ever what would happen if Robin didn't die, like if he was saved pero nasabugan siya, what would it do to his psyche? And then what if it was Batman who died trying to save him? What would happen to the Bat family then? Ganon. So, ayun.
Nikki, I'm curious, no? I want to go back to the
Uh-huh.
three Jokers. Although it's
Right.
not yet done, where does it stand among the great Joker stories like Arkham Asylum, The
Good
Killing Joke?
question.
Yeah, where does it stand
Well,
so far? Sa'yo.
we have, para sa akin, I have yet to determine that. Kasi hinihintay ko pa yung finale niya sa 27th.
Sabagay.
Although, my biggest question about it is where does it stand sa timeline? Kasi, yeah, it's a fact na, as I said, DC let it sit na there are three Jokers pala. And so, does this storyline come before the Joker? Diba? And then, I feel it's trying to be alone at the same time canon.
Right.
So, yeah, personally, I like it kasi I love I love Red Hood's relationship with Batman. It's very
Right.
complicated. The guys, I mean, siya yung black sheep of the family, and that's always interesting, you know.
So Nikki,
Well,
this is not an Elseworld story, no? This is, or it's,
No,
has
no,
it
no.
st-
Yun nga eh. Yun nga yung kasi it's actually parang canon, but where does it stand sa timeline? So that's my biggest question.
so it's
I
a
guess-
question that has yet to be answered by DC Comics.
Yeah.
There was this time na yung mga fans were asking Jeff Johns, sabi nila, baka naman the Jokers belong to different Earths, ganon, and he
Mhm.
immediately shut down those rumors. No, they belong to one Earth. Deal with it. This is real. This is happening.
Well, that's
Yeah.
certainly an interesting conundrum for the Bat universe. And Nikki, if do you have any more hauls? If not, we can take a peek at what Jiggy has for us. Because I
I'm
think,
excited for Jiggy's halls.
oh, because right now, if you look at what his garb, his wear, he's hinting. He's actually
Yes.
screaming it. Take it away, Jiggy.
Anyway, we gotta talk about it because it's a milestone issue for the Amazing Spider-Man, and I got issue 850, or
Wow.
that's Legacy 850 or issue 49, and then to be honest, I was really disappointed with 850 because it was sort of a rehash from Amazing Spider-Man 800 and coming from the Nick Spencer run. Nick Spencer, who is notorious for creating the Hydra, Captain America, and Secret
Exactly. Yeah.
Empire.
Yeah.
So Nick Spencer, who wrote the Superior Foes of Spider-Man, was assigned to Marvel's flagship title, The Amazing Spider-Man. After 48 issues, we get the 49th issue, which is Legacy 850. I was hoping to find out the identity of Kindred, and they didn't give it. They did not give the identity of Kindred, although in issue 50, which is the start of Last Remains or Legacy 851, that's when they finally reveal who Kindred is. But again, we don't know if it's just a red herring or maybe this character is already Kindred.
Pero Jiggy,
Now,
isn't that par for the course for Spider-Man? Because if you remember around issue 250, they did not reveal who the Hobgoblin was. And everyone was expecting that they'd reveal the Hobgoblin at the time. So you had to wait a bit more. Or wait a minute, am I dating myself?
kinda, just kinda, Rick,
That's
kinda.
embarrassing. Nikki, you want to say something else?
I mean, Jiggy, how did you feel though, dun sa reveal? I mean, I think you guys waited for this for more
Well,
than
I
a
was
year,
wrong.
right?
I was wrong with my theory.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
So you're expecting someone else, but you
I was
weren't
expecting
disappointed.
someone
Right?
else, and then they showed this character, the actual skeleton of this character. Like, oh, okay, I'm wrong. So who? Okay, so it's my next guess. So there.
Jiggy, if you are a non-Spider-Man fan, would you recommend them to jump on board the Amazing Spider-Man, and why?
I would binge. Okay, I wanted to tell you guys earlier that during this pandemic, I've been alphabetizing my comic book collection and putting them in order. So prior to reading 850, I binged on the Nick Spencer run for it to be fresh in my mind.
Okay.
And if you were like, this is what I like about Marvel Comics, that they believe that any issue can be your first issue. So Rick, you know this, being a fellow zombie, there's this previously page, so you can just jump in at any point in time, and you'll know what's been happening. But for this particular run, I really recommend that you start on the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man by Nick Spencer. So that was 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And Spencer actually put a lot of great jokes in the series. It didn't feel like an arc by arc story. It's more continuous. So you're
Mhm.
actually just following this whole series from Nick Spencer. And
Okay.
that's what I liked about it.
So he hasn't done anything controversial like a Nazi cap, right?
No, no, he has not. Although he did put a lot of like lovable jokes, classic Spidey. But I think what fans would like to know is that Mary Jane Watson is back in Spider Man's life, starting from issue 1. So he's back in a relationship with MJ, which I
Well,
think is pretty good.
well,
I think
it's
it's a good change again,
definitely
giving Spider Man the love of his life.
some things should remain consistent on in the universe, especially in Earth 1979. So I guess it's my turn now. My hauls. of the week. There are two. First is Thor. I know there's a new issue, but I want you to take a look at this one. It's Thor eating a hot dog.
Exactly.
There's some action going out there in the background, and it reminded me of that post-credit scene in the Avengers in the film, in the MCU film, where they were having some shawarma. Um, the cool thing about the latest issues, number 7 and 8, is that it's some downtime for Thor because the first 6 issues, he went from being more than just a god to being a king and to the herald of Galactus and fighting off the Black Winter. So that's pretty heavy stuff. I thought that Donny Cates and waded in swinging. And all of a sudden, there was a worthy heir to Jason Aaron in terms of the Thor canon. And I'm loving it. I think Donny Cates has done a phenomenal job with Venom. And Venom, I really cannot stand that character, to be honest. But he's made Venom readable. And now Thor, he's picked up the baton from Jason Aaron. And I'm loving it. The last 2 issues, there's some form of levity. There's a moment there where
Spoiler.
you got to go to Filbar to buy this stuff. Where Iron Man hits Thor with a hammer, and here, it's right here. Okay, and of course, he might have struck Thor, but he doesn't hurt him at all. And Thor tells him, "I just want to remind you that you're a tin man in a lightning storm." And just look at that panel right there. I want to show you that panel. Okay. Oh, there. If you can see that panel, the one with the letter T surrounded by
The shape of Mjolnir.
yeah. So again, I love that they were able to step off the gas pedal a bit, have some levity between Thor and Iron Man here, and we're bracing for the return of Nick Klein in terms of the artist, because Nick Klein has done an outstanding job backstopping Donny Cates, and Thor is just an enjoyable story. Some of my favorite comics in the last year or so have been the Immortal Hulk and Thor. Traditionally, not my favorite comic books, but they are comic books to read.
Yep.
I have one more thing to show you guys. As a kid, I'm dating myself again, guys. I'm dating myself. My mom gave it to me as a kid, and I lost it through the years, but I found it last week.
Rick, is that a calendar?
Where though?
No,
I'm
it's a
joking.
record. It's a record. It's a,
Please explain to Nikki what a record is.
Come on, guys.
it's a vinyl record, guys. But, it says, "Let's all dance with the Super Friends." Can you imagine that? So this is dance music. And, there's the sound of crypto, the theme from Superman, "You're a Wonder," Gotham City. It's all dance music. Imagine that.
Wow.
Right. If you're into the grim and gritty stuff from DC, this is cringeworthy. But as a kid who loves all this stuff and you couldn't care less what people think, it's a neat thing to have. And let's all dance with the Super Friends. And I'm with my Super Friends right here in the Hall of Justice. There.
Yeah, interesting though, Rick, kasi di ba sa Hall of Justice, I think that's one of the headquarters of the Super Friends at some point.
Yep.
HALL.
Prior to the Watchtower.
That's right.
Prior to the Watchtower.
Anyway, Rick, I think we gotta hype up the people who are interested to read Thor, Spider-Man, and possibly the upcoming trade, because I want to buy, because of Nikki, I want to get the trade of the 3 Jokers.
I'm interested too. I'm interested
But
now.
I've been waiting for it eh.
Well, the thing is, like you said earlier, you have to think about what you spend on. But if it's a worthy story, and I'm definitely intrigued, 3 Jokers in one time, man, I gotta check this out. All right. So
See no evil. See no evil. See no evil. No long have we tormented one another? I call you a fool. You call me a madman. I take someone you love. You have me locked up. It's a vicious cycle, little spider.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive stuff. And I think after watching all of that, it looks like I'm gonna haul in Spider-Man and Three Jokers after this. So
I'll wait for the trade. But I am excited for Thor number 9. I think it's gonna be big because get this, Rick, there is a 1 in 50 ratio variant, and they haven't done that in the other issues except for number 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So I believe it's by a cover by Ed McGuinness. So looks like Thor number 9 will be big.
definitely they're building up to a great storyline. And Donny Cates, so far with the stuff that I've seen, it's all these big epics, these massive epics that have far-reaching results and repercussions. So I'm excited for that, as you said.
Rick, I haven't been reading much Thor lately, but I heard na Donald Blake is gonna return. Why has he not been around lately?
Yeah.
Well, um,
I thought he was Thor.
yeah, there's some. It's like if you read the Immortal Hulk, Bruce Banner hasn't exactly been present. He just drops in once in a while. I think they focused a lot on Thor as the god and the king. He's now taken over from Odin in Asgard.
Exactly. He's king now, so he hasn't been spending much time in the human world na.
Yeah, so in the recent issues, he actually goes back to Oklahoma, where he has this little tiff with Iron Man. And the cool thing about what Donny Cates has done here is there's a nod towards not only what Jason Aaron has done on the title, but he goes even all the way back to Walt Simonson. So you gotta appreciate a writer like that. So as Jiggy said, I'm really excited for number 9, and I'm also excited to add to my hauls Three Jokers and Spider-Man once more. I'm an on and off Spider-Man fan, as much as I'd like to, but now you have my interest picked. So this is the first episode of Hall of Justice, and we hope that you enjoyed watching this. Nikki, Jiggy, any final words before we go back to the future?
Oh, speaking of Back to the Future, Rick, actually yesterday was Back to the Future Day, October 21.
Amazing.
35th anniversary.
That's right. That's right. So wow, talk about synchronicity, right? Almost synchronicity. So any final words, super friends, before we hide Back to the Future?
Ladies first.
All right. Okay, you guys, you can follow me on Instagram. This is probably the first time I'm going to say to invite people to follow my Instagram. There's not much to see there though. I have a YouTube channel. You can, as you may or may not subscribe because again, I do not post a lot. If you're looking to watch me talk more about pop culture, TV shows, case even, I am. I will be occasionally doing podcasts with my friend Joshua Bautista at Fan Favorite. It's this video gaming streaming fan page that's both available on Instagram and Facebook. Also, watch your news sa ANC.
Cool.
Get your daily dose of news sa ANC. Alright. Yun lang. Stay geeky, stay healthy.
Well, before we hear from Jiggy, anyone who does the news and loves pop culture stuff, I'm gonna follow.
For
Jiggy,
sure.
Jiggy, your turn.
No, I'm really excited for what's to come for the rest of the year. I know it's been hard, but the big two and other independent comic book publishers are here for us to entertain us during this pandemic. And Rick, I'm really excited for King in Black coming in December. You
Mhm.
mentioned Venom earlier. Donny
Mhm.
Cates really just hyped up that character. Like, same with you. I really couldn't care less for Venom in the past, but he made it. He made it interesting, and I
Definitely,
am very excited for King in Black.
definitely. Like Nikki, I have other Jiggy. You have another quiz show podcast that you want to share with the listeners?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Geek
host
himself.
weekly quiz nights because I want people to stay indoors and have fun at the same time. So
Apat lang
you
naman.
can follow me at Jiggy Cruz, and yeah, I host weekly quizzes. And next week will be the horror movie quiz or horror quiz night. So for all
Wow,
you Halloween fans,
it's
let's
right on
celebrate
time.
Halloween together with a horror quiz night.
Nice, nice, nice. So we ask all the viewers of Hall of Justice, all the patrons of Filbars to check out what Nikki and Jiggy do. As for me, I have a bunch of other podcasts. This Saturday, The Boot Room, which is my podcast on football, the English Premier League in particular, it debuts on Sky Cable Channel 265, Signal Channel 271, as well as Tap Go and PremierFootball.ph. I do it with the UP football coach Anto Gonzalez, former Kaya and Azcal player Nate Berkey, former Ateneo goalkeeper and national player Relly San Agustin, former Ateneo women's player and coach Simone Aldon. So that's every Saturday and Sunday. I also have my own other podcast, which is called Cold Brew. That's my music podcast where I have guys like Raymond Matasigan. Last night I had Eddie Dancel. I also had Jose Marie Chan a few weeks ago. So that's my music podcast. And of course, now you got All of Justice. So we're adding more, and I can't wait to do more of this every week. Right, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Awesome.
So any final words before we, as I said, go back to the future?
Great Scott, Rick. Great Scott. Let's I think they've heard enough of the Back to the Future references. But yeah, where we're going now, we don't need roads. We'll see you next week from Earth 1979.
All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you. We'll
Bye,
see you.
everyone.
Oh, don't forget, get your stuff.